struggling to stay motivated and productive whilst working at home as a HR professional? Are you finding it really difficult to stay on task? You're getting distracted by this, that, and the other, and you're just not utilizing your time in the best way possible. In this video, I'm going to be giving you 5 tips to overcome that. 5 tips to stay motivated, disciplined, and productive whilst working from home, to make sure that you're maximizing your day and utilizing it in the best way possible. Now, I've got to thank one of my Instagram followers for actually recommending and suggesting me do this video. So I hope that this helps everybody that's watching. Let's get into the video. So my first tip is structure your day. Now, you've probably heard this tip so many times, like not even probably, I know you've heard this tip so many times, but it's the main one. It's the most important. Structuring your day leads to a productive day. Simple as that. But I guess it's how you do that. So if you're just writing to-do lists and you're just writing out what you need to do for that day, then scrap that. I would scrap that idea because it doesn't work. For me personally, it does not work. I've tried to do that so many times and it does not work. I think the best thing for you to do is actually write a list of everything you need to do in the day. Let me get to it, because you're probably thinking, she just said you shouldn't do that, but let me get to it. Write a list and then prioritize what's on that list into different sections. Now, the top section for me would be things that you can do really quickly. So answering an email or doing a quick task that just requires 5 to 10 minutes of your time. I think you should separate those tasks because they can actually be done very quickly and instantly, instead of them being at the bottom of your list and you're not doing them even though you could do it so quickly. Then I would divide your to-do list into tasks that need to be done. So if those tasks are over 10-15 minutes or more, I think that is a task, and you should divide that into how long it's going to take you to do it. So just give a rough estimate, because once you do that and you know, okay, this is going to take me about half an hour, this might take me about an hour today, you can time block it into your calendar. And maybe if you know it's going to take a few more days to do, you can schedule in some extra time across the week to get it done. I would also section out a list for projects. So don't just write that you've got a project to do and you just write that project. That's a mistake I've made and nothing's getting done. You need to get that project and then divide that project into mini tasks that need to get done and have little deadlines for them. So let's say at the end of the week, I need to make sure that I've written this proposal. At the end of next week, then I can make sure that I'm writing down that I've completed the presentation. You know, you need to divide it into tasks so that you just know, okay, I'm going to get this done by this time, instead of just writing what projects you're doing. And then I would also write a section for tasks to delegate. So if there's things that somebody else can be doing on your behalf, then make sure that you're delegating those tasks out so that you're minimizing the workload, because that leads to higher productivity. Another thing that I would really recommend is writing 3 non-negotiables for the day. So what are the 3 things in that list that you've created? Out of that list, what are the 3 things, preferably I'd say in the task section or the project section you should pick from, that you need to complete today? Because if you get those 3 things done, you'll feel even more accomplished in some senses, because it's like, okay, do you know what? I've got these 3 major things done. It's better than me just getting 1 thing done. Sometimes you only get 1 or 2 things done, and that's okay. But if you write that you intentionally want to get 3 non-negotiables done in a day, you'll feel so good if you do it by the end of the day. I think I might do a video based on how I plan my time and schedule my time, so you can actually see how I do it. Look, I'm not perfect when it comes to time management at all. My time management is not the best. I'm just giving you some advice based on what I'm trying to implement within my regime, but I can show you what I try and do, and hopefully that helps. So stay tuned for that video later on. So the next tip that I've got for you is limiting your media consumption. Now, you may just pick up your phone when you get tired of doing a certain task or something's getting too difficult. That's what I do anyway, so that's why I'm saying it. And once you do that, you can go on a tangent. You can start going on Instagram, TikTok, and time can just run away with you, especially if there's a day when you don't have that many meetings and you just feel like, you know what, let me just pick up my phone for a second. I would not recommend you doing that. I think the best thing to do is, if you're having like a mini 5-minute break, you pick up your phone, you can check it and set a little timer just so that when it goes off, you're like, right, okay, cool, I need to put this down now. I usually put my phone on do not disturb when I'm working, depending on the day. So if there's a day full of meetings and I know that I need to just be so attentive and I can't be thinking someone's going to ring me, I will just put my phone on do not disturb for the day. And then at lunchtimes, I'll just take it off and I'll just, go on my phone. But I would just limit as much media consumption as possible. Also, like when you're working, don't go and open new tabs and do any online shopping or anything like that, because sometimes we're prone to doing it whilst working from home. So if it is something that you do, limit that consumption. Try your best to be focused. But I think if we go back to what I said at first, when you've got a structure in place, there is more focus there. So you're not going to be picking up your phone as much or going on different websites, because your structure is there. And I feel like when your structure's there, you feel accomplished already, because you're like, okay, cool, I know what I'm doing today. And I think that's the main thing. If you know what you're doing, it just increases your productivity, it increases your motivation, and it increases the chance of you utilizing your day and making the most of it. So I think I've kind of spoken about this one already, but the next tip is taking breaks more often, because if you're sitting down for the whole day and you only get up at lunchtime, you're gonna start getting stiff. Like, you might not feel it now, but over time you're gonna start getting stiff, and that's not gonna help you to feel productive at all, because once you start getting those aches and pains, it's just gonna be even worse. And it's important that you're getting up, you're taking a break, you're getting away from the screen as well, because constantly looking at the screen 24/7 is not going to be beneficial to your eyes. So you need to just be walking around, even if that is, let me take a 5-minute break. I'm just going to go and grab something to eat. I'm going to go and get a coffee. I'm going to go make a tea, or I'm just going to go outside. I'm just going to walk around the block for a little bit and come back in, get some air. Because when we're at home, I think sometimes we don't feel the need to get up because we're at home. Whereas in the office, you probably get up more to get a drink or a coffee or whatever, or walk around to find somebody. So we need to remember to incorporate this in our day, because if not, it can lead to being less productive if you don't move around and you're not getting a break. So it can lead to that. My next tip is to stay active. I feel like this kind of leads into it a little bit, but stay active. Make sure you're doing some kind of exercise throughout the week, whether that is doing a bit of yoga, going to the gym in the morning, the afternoon, after work, making sure that you are stretching, because I don't know about you guys, but for me, sometimes my leg starts to get stiff if I sit down for like too long. I have to get up and stretch it, because otherwise, it's painful. So you need to make sure that you're moving, you're staying active, and also you're staying healthy as well. I honestly feel like health and well-being, it links to having a good day. It links to being able to think properly at work. So if you're not eating properly, if you're not exercising, it can have an effect on how you think in the workplace. So taking care of your body is the number one thing. I think for me, my number one is my body and my health, because if I can look after that, everything else kind of falls into place, and you will feel more motivated. You'll feel more like you want to be productive, because you've got more energy. If you don't have the energy, you're not going to want to do anything. So it can take a toll on your productivity. And finally, my final tip is to create a work environment at home. If you are working from home, it's nice to have a space, what you can call your home office. Get some plants and put them around your computer. Maybe get yourself a monitor so that you've got a bigger screen to look at whilst you're doing your work. Put decorations across your table. Have your stationery in one section. Make sure that your table is cleaned down at the start of your workday, so it's a fresh space to walk into. If you don't have your own office space, if you don't have maybe a table or a little designated space in your room, then if you have to go to the kitchen or if you have to go to another room, take your accessories with you and make it feel like a place where you want to go to work. Because once you create the right environment for working, everything else also fits into place. So you've got more of a desire to say, right, I want to make sure my day's structured properly. You've got more of a desire to say, I need to make sure this is done today and I want to get that done. You feel more, in the right zone, the right headspace when you've got a nice space to do your work in. I would also say as well, when you're working, don't work in your pajamas, don't work in your like joggers all the time, because sometimes I do that and I actually feel deflated. When I don't have to put makeup on specifically, but if I just, you know, make sure I've put on like just some nice kind of clothes, indoor, comfy still, don't get me wrong, but like something that I feel comfortable in, spraying a bit of perfume even, I just feel ready to show up for the day. So I know these are things that you've probably heard before, but I feel like it's good to emphasize them, and it's good to think about them again from another perspective, because it can really help you to stay motivated, stay in the game, stay productive, and ensuring that you're getting what you need to get done. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.